We are joined by Rory McIlroy. Rory, how does it feel to be back at a U.S. Open?
Yeah, it feels good. I've been on a pretty good run of U.S. Open performances over the last few years. Obviously had a close call at LACC last year. Obviously Wyndham just pipping me to the post there. But I feel like I really struggled at U.S. Open setups, 2016, 17, 18 in particular. And then, I sort of had a bit of a come to Jesus moment after that, and tried to really figure out why that was. And then my performances from 2019 and after that have been really, really good. So yeah, excited to be back. I really enjoyed Pinehurst last time. We were here in 2014. Just got in, so I'm looking forward to seeing the golf course this afternoon.
We're going to open up to questions here on the left.
Rory, based on either gut feeling or analysis of strokes gained or talks with Harry or your previous experience here in 2014, between now and Thursday afternoon, what part of your game are you most focused on?
I think it's course dependent, so I would say for this golf course it'll be around the greens. From what I remember in 2014, it's obviously generous off the tee in terms of the playing corridors that you're asked to hit it into, but then if you hit it outside of those, you can get yourself into trouble in sort of this like sandy waste area. But like most Donald Ross courses, it's on and around the greens where I'm going to have to sort of do the most work and sort of figure out what shots to hit around greens. Obviously Martin here 10 years ago used the putter very, very well. So just sort of figuring out what I'm comfortable with on and around the greens. I think that'll be the big key over the next sort of 36 hours.
Front right, Gary.
Rory, you mentioned the last 5 years, all top tens, all improvement every year. Is there one theme to that? Is there something in terms of game plan at different venues that you've applied that is reflected in these results, improving every year?
Yeah, I would say embracing the difficult conditions, embracing the style of golf needed to contend at a U.S. Open, embracing patience, honestly embracing what I would have called boring back in the day. Explosiveness isn't going to win a U.S. Open. It's more, methodically building your score over the course of 4 days and being okay with that. And honestly, it's just more of a reframing of a mindset than anything else.
We're going to go here on the left for two.
Rory, you've spoken about the importance of the short game here at Pinehurst. We always talk about you and talk about your prowess off the tee, and that's the sort of thing that commands the headlines. Do you think your wedge play, which actually is sensational, gets a little overlooked? And how much fun is that aspect of the game to you?
Yeah, I would. I think when you excel, especially at one part of the game, there's other parts of the game get overlooked a little bit. I feel like I've turned myself into a pretty proficient player around the greens. I've always been a pretty good chipper of the golf ball. Bunker play's been solid for the most of my career. I feel like I've turned myself into a really good putter over these past sort of 4 or 5 years. But yeah, the driving is what people are interested in when they watch me hit a golf ball, and that's fine. But it takes more than driving a golf ball to win the amount of tournaments that I have, and yeah, I feel like all aspects of my game are in pretty good shape at the minute.
Stay here on the left with Ann.
Hi, Rory. Can you talk about Padraig Harrington getting inducted into the World Golf Hall of Fame last evening and what that means for Irish golf?
Yeah, Padraig is he's the quintessential pro. He's also a wonderful ambassador for the game of golf around the world, anywhere he goes. And I think from someone that grew up in that part of the world, aspiring to be one of the best golfers in the world, Padraig was the one that, and I've said this before, but he was the one that sort of opened the floodgates for us and made us believe that we could follow in his footsteps. Winning at Carnoustie in 2007, and then winning those 2 majors back-to-back in 2008. I think myself, Graham McDowell, Darren Clark, Shane Lowry, a lot of us, we looked at him and saw him achieving things that we wanted to achieve, and it sort of made us believe a little bit more that we could. So I think he really paved the way for us in some way, and no one more deserving. You know, he's, as I said, a wonderful ambassador for the game. You know, probably loves the game of golf more than I do in some way, and you know, he's a relentless practicer and tinkerer, and always trying to figure out ways to get better. And yeah, as I said, no one more deserving than Padraig.
On the right to Dan.
Another win for Scotty at the Memorial. You've been on runs like this. You've seen it. You know, you've been.
I haven't been on a run like this.
Maybe not quite this special. What is the most impressive to you about what he's been able to accomplish so far this year?
The fact that the only thing that took him from winning a golf tournament was going into a jail cell for an hour. I think just the relentlessness. I think, look, a lot of stuff's went on in his life as well. They've just had a new child. You know, he's been through some struggles in his game, particularly the putter that he's been able to turn around as well. So, you know, it's not as if he hasn't had his challenges along the way, or, you know, circumstances have been a little bit different for him. But yeah, I mean, the word that I describe it as is relentless. It just seems like every time he shows up, he is the guy to beat, and deservedly so. I mean, this run that he's been on, you know, I think he's played 14 times this year, or 13 times this year, only once out of the top 10. Seems like he's always in contention. And it just doesn't, even when he, you know, like the most exciting thing about last week at Memorial was when he made the triple on 9. Everyone's like, oh, looks like people, you know, he might let people in here, but, you know, he finds a way to steady the ship, make a few birdies when he needs to, and, you know, undoubtedly the best player in the world at the minute by a long way, and, you know, it's up to us to try to get to his level.
I don't remember what tournament it was, but you were in the broadcast booth, and you said, you know, maybe he should try a mallet, and then if he starts...
Oh, Riviera, I remember it well.
Yeah, you're great giving him that idea?
Well, he tried to spider last summer for a couple of tournaments. But I think the work that he's put in with Phil Kenyon as well, I think that's a big part of it. I know that they started to work sort of after the FedEx Cup playoffs last year, and obviously the work that they've done has really been paying off.
A few more here on the left.
Yeah, Rory, just you drawn with Scotty and Xander again. I think you were with them at the Masters. Is there any advantage to being with those two guys, or a disadvantage maybe you get caught up in, you know, playing them rather than just concentrating on the golf course?
I mean, if they're playing well and I try to keep up with them, then I guess it's a good thing. No, I mean, it's always exciting to be a part of a marquee group like that. You know, number 1, 2, and 3 in the world. You know, the USGA. I remember back in the day, I think it was Torrey Pines in 08 watching on TV. I failed to qualify for that tournament, but I remember watching, I think it was Tiger, Phil, and Adam Scott the first 2 days. So it's cool to be a part of these pairings, and yeah, I think at this point, Scotty, Xander, and myself are all experienced enough not to get caught up in it, and just to go about our business and try to, you know, shoot a couple of good scores to put ourselves in position going into the weekend.
Here, far right.
Rory, Nick Saban at Alabama used to give his team 24 hours to either celebrate a win or mourn a loss. When you have a close loss like you had last year at LACC, what's your process for dealing with it, putting it behind you, learning from it?
Yeah, I mean, I won my next start after LACC at the Scottish Open. Wasn't quite able to emulate that at the Open, but I've played enough golf and enough golf tournaments over my career that once it's done, it's done. You know, you leave it in the past. You try to learn from whatever happened that given week. But, you know, the good thing about golf in particular is there's always the next week. There's always an opportunity to get back up on the horse and try again.
2 more. Scott on the right.
Rory, you said earlier that you kind of found U.S. Open golf a little boring at one point, and Pinehurst asked some different questions than most U.S. Open courses. When you get offline and you get in whatever the rough and wiregrass is, do you like that kind of examination where maybe it gives you some kind of chance to recover better than out of really thick rough?
Yeah, because it gives you options, and it gives you like even going back to last week at Memorial, you know, people hit it offline or people hit it green. You're basically only seeing players hit one shot. There's only one option, and that turns into it being somewhat one-dimensional and honestly not very exciting. And I think a course like this definitely demands a different skill set, and also some creativity. And I think that'll be on display this week. And I've already seen some videos online of people maybe trying fairway woods or having lob wedges or putters, or even if you get half lucky and get a decent lie in that wiregrass sandy area, being able to hit a recovery shot. So I think for the viewer at home, that's more exciting than just seeing guys hack out a 4-inch rough all the time. So hopefully that comes to fruition, and it is an exciting golf tournament.
One more on the left, Brentley.
Rory, I think so many golfers talk about the importance of like the current shot or the current tournament that you're playing, but do you still set like career goals, or do you have an idea of some numbers or accomplishments that you still want to achieve before you ultimately hang it up?
Not particularly. I mean, I've always said, I still feel like being the most successful European in the game is within my reach. I've got obviously Seve and Nick Faldo to pass there in terms of major wins, but I'm really proud of my body of work over the past 15 years and everything that I have achieved, whether it be season-long titles or individual tournaments or majors. Obviously, getting my hands on a 5th major has taken quite a while, but I'm more confident than ever that I'm right there, that I'm as close as I've ever been. But I wouldn't say I've got like a particular number of wins, or I want to win as many golf tournaments as I can. I want to try to compete and win as many majors as I can. I think the only thing about trying to pick a number is that you're setting yourself up for failure or disappointment. Tiger wanted to surpass Jack, and it looks like he mightn't get there, but are we going to call Tiger's career a failure? Absolutely not. It's arguably the best. He's played the best golf anyone's ever seen. But there's always going to be that tinge of what could have been, and I don't really want to. I don't want to do that to myself. If someone had told me at 20 years old that I'd be sitting here at 35 and this is the career that I've had, I would have not believed them and would have been ecstatic. So I've still got a good little bit of time ahead of me here, hopefully for the next 10 years, and I still like to think that I've got a good run ahead of me, and whatever those numbers are and whatever the totals add up to, I'll accept that and feel like I've done pretty well for a little boy from Northern Ireland that dreamed of playing golf for a living one day.
Rory, thanks for the time and good luck this week.
Thank you.